Haikui expected to become another typhoon threat. So another developing robust tropical cyclone, Haikui, which is out over the open western Pacific right now, but will be speeding towards the southern Ryukyu Islands in the next few days. It's at 19.1 north, 136.2 degrees east. At 8 p.m. Japan time, it was 65 miles per hour, that's 105 kilometers per hour, with a pressure of 986 millibars, moving nearly due west at 10 miles per hour, 16 kilometers per hour. We expect a movement further towards the northwest in the coming days, but there's a very uncertain track forecast ahead of it. Here it is right now with its wind field extending out to a fair amount, but not a huge wind field at this time, 80 nautical miles in the northeastern quadrant, and as you can see, far away from any land areas at the moment. But right now it is 1179 kilometers from Naha on Okinawa, 1295 from Miyakojima, 1486 from Santa Ana in the Philippines, 1504 from Basco, and 1653 from Taipei in Taiwan. The storm is going to be heading towards that direction fairly soon. Of course, Saola will complicate this as well, with both storms coexisting, and neither of them have a fully defined track just yet. But we're most concerned about damaging winds. Now, note the uncertain track. If the storm does move over land areas more decidedly in the next few days, there could be a shift towards rainfall being the biggest threat. But right now we're just looking towards the primary hazard of wind, as this could become maybe a category 2 or 3 typhoon, and a storm surge would also occur as well if that storm managed to get that intensity. Well, here it is right now on the forecast from the latest GFS, and you'll be surprised by what it shows. It actually takes it further towards the south and does a little loop around, but the ensembles, we've averaged it all out, and we're basically taking a look towards a close pass to Taiwan and then towards the east coast of China into early next week. So it's a difficult, very difficult one to forecast. The steering is all over the place, as is sometimes the case at this time of year, but we'll look at the GFS model properly in a moment. Right now, 65 miles per hour is an interesting analysis. JMA is slightly higher at 70 miles per hour, and the ADT satellite techniques are a little bit lower, just below 60 miles per hour. So we're sort of in the middle of the road with all of that, but no doubt this storm is expected to intensify, and with all of that uncertainty it could be quite a bit stronger than this forecast from the JTWC. They're predicting a 90 knot peak, which is category 2, just east of Miyakojima, and then turning northwards in the East China Sea and gradually weakening as it gets closer to Shanghai. Certainly what you will notice more than anything is the wind field really blows up. Now watch the storm here on the GFS, which is really showing something completely different. It sinks towards the southwest, and then it does strengthens again and does a loop round and moves back towards the northeast. There are possibilities of a looping scenario. Ensembles, they've got loads of different scenarios. That there is the JTWC forecast. We've sort of gone left a little bit. That is sort of close to the one of the GFS ensembles, and then there's one or two other ensembles that have a tighter loop closer to Taiwan and then shooting back up towards the northeast. So really complex situation, but at the moment the track favors a slow, fairly slow track through the southern Ryukyu Islands and then into the East China Sea. And once again you can see all these other tropical storms all around this in the western Pacific as we look at the simulated radar. Saola continuing into the South China Sea there, and then a few other storms really blowing up on the eastern part of our image there towards Japan, and that will really mess up this forecast, but we've just got to watch it very closely at every forecast point to see how closely it is following that JTWC cone. So just think about what might happen if this storm moves through those islands instead of this track, and look at the amount of rainfall that's being produced by it. I think it's quite easy for Haikui to cause at least 20 inches of rain in some spots wherever it tracks. At the moment it's only saying 1 or 2 inches along those islands, but that's assuming the storm doesn't get there. I think it still will, and so I would expect probably 20 inches of rain for some of the southern Ryukyu islands. That's 500 millimeters. Sea surface temperatures ahead of the storm are looking very good, very warm indeed, getting up to 30 degrees Celsius, and that's staying the case through those islands into the East China Sea, where temperatures are still pretty warm there as well. 29 degrees extending up towards Shanghai, and then quite cooler in the northern part of the East China Sea there near Korea. But still, off the west coast of Korea, it's at least 25 degrees Celsius, which is nearly enough to sustain that tropical cyclone. So let's take a look at it right now. It's probably the best thing that we can do with such an uncertain forecast, and it's blowing up large amounts of convection there towards the center. It had quite a bit more earlier, but it's blowing up quite concentrated right now with some pretty high cloud tops well into the -80s. There's Seoul on the left hand side, which has really blown up once again in the last few hours. You can access some of these images on the Force 13 website and see for yourself, and we've got our automated stream which is showing live imagery, force13.com/satellite. And this system, you can see, is general movement, yep, just north of west, and really very impressive convective tops there, and who knows what it might be hiding underneath. Probably a developing eye wall, and this will most likely become a significant typhoon. Just how strong will it get? Big question mark on that, but we are concerned about the southern Japanese islands, Taiwan, and the eastern coast of China.